It's quite common for us non-Americans while watching a teenager's show to wish we had been born in the US, to wish we had proms, lockers, yellow school buses or things like that. Luckily, video game industry saw the demand and made a US school simulator for us. Enter the Gungeon has entered its 9th anniversary just a few months ago, and I believe that's the perfect excuse to see if the game stood the test of time, if it's still playable between all these new major titles. As always, I appreciate any form of support, even as small as hitting the like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's go for it. First off, gameplay. Usually in this format, it's easier to compare the games to newer titles from the same genre or subgenre to see how far the industry has come and if the older games hold up to the new generation's expectations. So let's just do that. While newer roguelikes have leaned towards the direction of fast-paced beat-em-up style in the past few years, with games like Dead Cells and Hades where you have to dodge and attack to the point where you have no idea what you're doing but it looks really cool, Enter the Gungeon is hit or miss in this matter, at least at the beginning. Except for the bosses and a few certain enemies, in this game you mostly need to have a strategy to hold your ground and start from there. It's like if a cover shooter like Gears of War meets a stealth game like Splinter Cell, not as chaotic as the former, not as calm as the latter. In terms of defense, you have two options: to flip over a table and take cover behind, or do a cool dodge that gives you about 1 second of invincibility frame. If you go with the cover shooting approach, you have to take into account that the enemies are gonna close in on you super fast, take away your freedom of movement, and the table is not gonna last forever of course. It's destructible. On the other hand, dodging and rolling will leave you vulnerable to the bullets, or might place you in a worse situation than before. As for the advantages, you have the benefit of reloading your gun mid-dodge, and that makes the fight really fast and quick, while in a cover strategy you can keep track of your bullets to not waste them. So to conclude, the game relies on two defensive systems that should be used in balance. One will slow the gameplay but is more prudent, the other will speed it up, though it's sloppy and all over the place. As for the guns, we all know how much roguelikes rely on having a diverse variety of weapons and tools. It's the founding pillar of the genre, so you can find better weapons and progress more and more in the game. That being said, the diversity usually doesn't come in the weapon itself, it comes in the affixes and abilities that can be coupled with. Like in Hades, you only got 5 weapons, but you can equip each one with boons and create a new unique thing. Or even in Dead Cells, which is famous for having a bizarre amount of swords and hammers, except for unique attack patterns in a few of them, those affixes are the main thing to separate each weapon from the other. In Enter the Gungeon though, that's not the case. When a game is about guns and bullets, of course their main focus would be on the actual guns and bullets you're gonna use. Here, while some guns are practically replicants of each other, some of them rely on totally unique mechanics. Like if one of them can shoot bees at the enemy, one can throw a chain of energy beams or snowballs. This one chases the enemies down, while another is a sticky bomb that explodes when you reload the gun. What I'm trying to say is that while you're gonna get bored to death in one run for having similar boring weapons, the next one can be exciting if you were a hellish ground for instance. Enter the Gungeon does a great job in the visual and graphical elements too. The patternless flashes of explosion and shooting in a chaotic crowded background sets the mood for an experience close to a gunfight, but not completely, so the fantasy won't die. The most genius factor in this game's art is with the enemy's character design. Usually when you meet an enemy for the first time in other games, the only way to learn their attack pattern is by trial and error. They charge, you see the attack, you get hit, but after a few tries you know what to expect. In Enter the Gungeon though, sometimes there's no need for that. We got visual clues to help us. This guy is a 45, mainly used in handguns, so he's gonna shoot a handgun. This guy is a 7.62, so he's probably a sniper. A hand grenade? Better avoid that. A jelly? Of course it's gonna... Yeah, I don't know why these ones do that. While most games with a similar art design will warn players of possible seizures, I think Enter the Gungeon doesn't go that far in using flashes of light to cause any problem for its audience. The ambient color and lighting do a perfect job of creating a contrast, separating the background from the main character, the enemies, and the bullets. Most objects in this game are destructible with a really impressive animation which adds a nice touch to the chaos. Look at it go. Speaking of chaos, I like how messy most of the rooms are and how everything seems random, while it's quite the opposite in the boss rooms. It's very considerate of the devs, because boss fights are already crowded and chaotic on their own, adding extra elements would just be mean. In terms of plot and the story, it's non-existent in this game. Although I'm one of those guys who's obsessed with the story and will look for it in unnatural places like music tracks and paintings, I think we can overlook the fact that this game's lore can be summarized in 3 sentences. because that's not the point. There's no need for a story when shooting and breaking stuff is this cool. You make your own story. All in all, I believe Enter the Gungeon aged really well, stood the test of time. In some way we can say this game is the end of an era, especially in roguelike standards. It's a bit of this, a bit of that. The strategical thinking of older games, combined with fast-paced go berserk of the new ones, seasoned with the spice of bullet hell. It's definitely worth buying. I mean, that is if the price being $15 wasn't convincing enough for you. If you enjoyed, hit the like button and subscribe, and don't you dare go hollow.